Let's move on to Washington Post. Let's put this up there on the screen. We had to put this in.
Unbelievable.
I'm relishing this, folks. Let's put this up there on the screen. Over 200,000 subscribers have canceled their Washington Post subscription after Jeff Bezos blocked a Kamala Harris endorsement. Now, for context, there are roughly 2.5 million subscribers at the Washington Post. That means about 8 to 10% of those people have now canceled. Keep in mind, this 200,000 figure was as of yesterday, almost certainly even more, and people are going to pile on after this news came out. But more importantly, you should know that the Post boasted about netting only 4,000 new subscribers to the Washington Post in just the last calendar year. Meaning, what is that, 50 times? Am I doing that math? Is it 500 times? In terms of the people
make me do math, Saagar.
Canceled versus the people that they gained. And he was already losing $100 million a year operating the paper. So yeah, and you know, I've seen people out there be like, well, this just shows people don't want unbiased news and blah, blah. I'm like, okay, listen, I'm not disagreeing with you, but at the same time, they sold bound copies of the Mueller report. They put Democracy Dies in Darkness on their freaking masthead.
Yeah.
They sold the tote bag New Yorker vision to everybody here in Washington about standing up to Donald Trump, about being the heart of the resistance. They hired Robert Kagan, they hired Jennifer Rubin, I can go on forever, Max Boot, all these other folks to give them columns, to build them up. They were the beating heart of Russiagate, they were the beating heart of resistance. So when you sell that vision to people, how can you blame them for canceling? I'm not mad at these libs for canceling because, look, nobody subscribes to the Post for news, okay? Nobody. It's not the best newspaper, hasn't been for a long time. They do it for the vibe. And so when you explicitly turn that on a dime, yeah, you should cancel it. I'm gonna defend all these people, resistance liberals.
I subscribe to the Washington Post for Jeff Stein specifically.
Okay, all right, well, yeah, sorry. I mean, I feel bad. Beyond Jeff, I have a lot of friends who actually work there. So I feel bad saying this because frankly, they're probably in jeopardy now. But, you know, at a pure media level, this is also the problem with having a freaking fickle billionaire owner at the top.
That's the
and
point.
Like, that's how it goes sometimes.
If you genuinely think Jeff Bezos made this move a week before Election Day out of his principles in favor of unbiased coverage, like, I have a bridge to sell you. Right. That is not what's going on here. He obviously recognizing what a massive catastrophe this is for the paper and how much damage has been done. He scrambled and put together his own op-ed, which ran in his own paper, where he clearly, you know, has a lot of influence and directs coverage. And he claims, I think preposterously, that this had nothing to do with his own massive corporate interests, both at Amazon and at Blue Origin, both of which get huge federal government contracts. Blue Origin, I think it was Blue Origin last time around, was punished by Trump. You know, he's looking at the landscape and is like, Trump could win and I don't want my shit to be canceled. Was it Amazon, the cloud? That's right. Cloud contract.
It's kind of complicated because yes, Trump did seek to punish them, but also Amazon was not the best bidder in that contract. So I actually looked a lot into this. It is a big problem because we're talking about $10 billion, whether it's between Microsoft and Amazon. I don't think either of them should have gotten it actually because it just was more like big tech, like basically subsidy from the federal government. But yeah, Trump tried to intervene against Amazon.
Yes.
They ended up successfully suing in court though, so it's not like it didn't work out.
But he's looking at the landscape. He wants to hedge his bets, and he says, "Oh, it was just an accident that the Blue Origin executives met with Trump literally that same day." Okay.
Yeah, he claimed he had no idea. I mean, maybe he didn't, but what's funny is that it doesn't even matter if he didn't because he still has a direct financial interest in that happening.
Right.
So.
Right, and you're going to tell me that you really came to this rock solid bedrock principle a week before Election Day.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Just purely out of disinterested, you know, ideology that you're in favor. Like, come on.
Right.
You know, Derek Thompson was tweeting about this. He was like, anytime someone's, you know, newfound principle happens to align with their own personal financial self-interest, you should probably be pretty skeptical of that. But we can put Jeff's op-ed up on the screen. And like I said, some of this is really wild. But he says, I wish we'd made the change earlier than we did in a moment further from the election, the emotions around it. That was inadequate planning, not some intentional strategy. He also says, when it comes to the appearance of conflict, I am not an ideal owner of the Post. Oh, you think? Every day, somewhere, some Amazon executive or Blue Origin executive or someone from the other philanthropies and companies I own or invest in is meeting with government officials. Yeah, that's the problem. I once wrote that the Post is a complexifier for me. It is, but it turns out I'm also a complexifier for the Post. So really, the real victim in all of this, Saagar, is actually Jeff Bezos.
It's actually Bezos. In the words of Charlie Munger, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. And look, if you read through this op-ed, it's bullshit. I mean, Jeff Bezos bought the Post in 2023. He has invested probably over $500 million into the enterprise, and it loses money. Now, the main reason why I don't believe him, like you just said with the Derek Thompson thing, is he was perfectly fine whenever it was democracy dies in the darkness and they were making a lot of money. But also when it seems to possibly clash with his own massive $100 billion or $200 billion wealth or whatever it is now, it's worth maybe taking that hit there to make sure that the stock price and other financial incentives over here don't. How exactly did these principles not flare up when you were literally the home of Russiagate? Like, spare me. That's exactly how I feel. You gave $100 million to the Obama Foundation. You're giving these genius grants to Van Jones and all that when it was very popular and safe to be a Democrat. Now, whenever you're looking at it differently and perhaps that there is a Democratic move for antitrust, now you're changing your position. But whenever big business, the Democratic Party was there, you were happily. Many people don't know this. He owns the largest house here in Washington, D.C. And it was bought for one specific purpose, to hold salon parties, to go to the gridiron, and specifically to become like the gathering place for the Washington elite, where Republicans and Democrats are often seen coming in and out for dinner. What do you think? You think that's for social reasons? Like, come on. This is a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
It's always been this way.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And, you know, basically Bernie was right when he said it's a problem that this guy owns the Post. It impacts their coverage. It's a conflict of interest. It is all of those things. And, you know, I think it's really precious if you're someone out there who thinks this billionaire oligarch with a raft of federal government contracts is really just taking a principled stand at this point in favor of not making endorsement.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.